Hi, I'm Darianne McLean. I am an individual advocate at Valid. We're an advocacy organisation for adults with intellectual disability. I'm also the mother of a young man, 35 years old, who has autism. Supporting my son in the community has presented a wide variety of outcomes, I guess, and experiences, ranging from meeting some very kind and understanding individuals who obviously didn't know too much about what was going on, but certainly sensed that something wasn't, quite normal. And I really don't like that term, but yeah, it's a bit hard to describe it otherwise. And will take the lead from me, so we'll recognise that they probably won't do so well unless they talk to me and take advice from me on how to interact with him. Even though inwardly I am quite anxious and feeling a heavy responsibility to be the one to keep control of this situation, I need to project to them a sense of calmness and assure them that I've got control of this and I've got a handle on it, and I've had to be a teacher, I guess. Alternatively, I've had some very negative experiences out in the community with my son, particularly if his behaviour is escalated. So if he's feeling overly anxious, he can become quite loud and he might become quite excited and flap his hands. There's often an anticipation of those around that there's an increased risk to them. It's an increased risk to him. Because if it does escalate, he will then engage in self-interest behaviour, not pose any risk to people around him. But when people are seeing that for the first time, it's not something they're used to. Generally speaking, the automatic response is fear. I guess the greatest assistance to me, particularly in those situations where he is escalated, is if they can not ask me too many questions, because my focus is on him, and I've got to keep it very simple, and just suggest that they might stand back a bit, not stand too close, don't touch him. Sometimes people will instinctively want to assist and might sort of put a hand on a shoulder in a positive way, trying to help, where if that occurred for him, he would recoil straight away. Sometimes if somebody gives him instruction, just give him a moment to process that, because that is a key feature of autism. No matter how verbally competent a person with autism is, they generally will need longer to process something they've just heard. A lot of people with autism have trouble with eye contact as well, so you will often not get them to look at you. That shouldn't be assumed that they're not listening. In fact, you'll get much better receptive communication if eye contact isn't a requirement. And for some people that's hard, that don't understand that. They feel if somebody's not looking at them, they're not actually taking them seriously and listening. But people with autism listen very well indirectly. If you were to ask me what would work well for my son in a library, it would be having a space or a room for him to go to that's away from everybody else, where he could enjoy looking at books and participating in the activities that he'd want to. Often he will come and join into the group situation on the sort of skirting around the edges, but then he might become a little bit sort of overwhelmed, and if he knows there's a spot where he can retreat to just de-stress, and then he'll come back in and enjoy the interactions that are being offered at the time. A powerful tool that we use and train parents with is what we call a one-page profile to the library staff, so that they understand. So what might be on this profile is information like what works and what doesn't work for this individual, so that they're not set up to fail when they come into that environment.